Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I am having a horrific allergy day, so that's why I look like this, but the show must go on. If you know me, you also know my cat Layna. Because that's how it goes, because she is everything to me. She is my child, I love her so much. And if you don't know, basically the story is I am now 32, but 12 years ago when I was 20, I was sort of venturing out into the world a little more than I had previously. You know, being in a wheelchair and being breakable, I didn't really go places by myself very often. And so I was kind of doing that more and more. And I happened to physically see the Humane Society, our local shelter, for the first time. I'd always known about them. I followed them on social, but I had never seen it before. So like a total rookie, I was like, well, I'll just go in and see, you know. So I went in and I saw, and I met Layna. And before I knew what had happened, I had signed and paid for her, living in my mom's house without her permission and any of that. And that is how Layna came into my life. I just adopted her that day. And now we're 12 years on from that, and I still love her more than anything. She's still my great little child. She does, in fact, have a history of violence towards me specifically. Um, she started fluoxetine for that about 2 years ago, and her violence has definitely gone down. She's also a little less active than she used to be. Don't know if that's because of the meds or if that's just because she's getting older, but who knows. Anyway, especially as she's getting older, her annual vet appointments have been very important to me because I know that, senior cats can get a lot of different health issues, ones that I've already kind of taken measures to mitigate, like kidney disease and things like that. But it's always important to me that she sees her vet annually and that I pay the gajillion dollars for blood work and all of that each year. So this year, literally today's Saturday, she went on Tuesday for her annual vet appointment, and it was kind of scary because she weighed 9 pounds prior, and they took her weight there, and she now weighs like 7 pounds. So in the last year, she's lost 2 pounds. That's a lot of weight for a small cat, right? And so he took her blood and they ran it, and there's actually nothing on her blood work that he said he's particularly worried about. He was like, her blood work looks fine. There's a couple levels that are sort of low, but that could be any number of reasons. Like she did throw up in the car on the way there. That can affect the levels. Yeah. So, longest story longer, my vet wants me to fatten Layna up a little bit. He wants her to be more around 8 pounds. So we got to find a way to get her to gain a pound. He told me to. This is the weird part. Okay, so he asked me what I feed her. She gets kibble in the morning and wet food at dinner because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to give her. They both have benefits. And, yeah, I liked the idea of both, and she likes both. He told me to give her more kibble, though. And I don't love that because, well, A, I fill her bowl with kibble. She doesn't eat it all. Like, what am I supposed to do? Shove it down her throat? Like, she eats as much as she wants. She never empties the kibble bowl, is what I'm trying to say. She eats what she wants to eat, and then she walks away. She almost always empties the wet food bowl, but never the kibble bowl. Um, so what I've decided to do is I've never been a big treat mom. I don't really give her treats because Layna has never really been super interested in treats. She likes her tubes, but I've never given her a lot of tubes because I didn't think you were supposed to. So anyway, today my sister and I are going to PetSmart, and I'm going to basically buy a whole bunch of cat treats and see if I can find something that Layna will like that I can maybe give her, every day as like a little treat just so that she gets some extra calories and maybe we can fatten her up that way. You know what I mean? So that's the goal. So we're going to go to the Humane Society first, even though I'm allergy, because we have our regular cat socialization shift. And then we're going to go to PetSmart after and look at cat treats and probably buy a whole bunch and come back and go through them. The interesting thing about Layna is historically she doesn't really like food that's like dry. You know what I mean? Like she likes her kibble, but it's a very smelly kibble. I've tried her with like freeze dried meats and stuff before, like you know what I mean, like when you can buy like the little like flakes of tuna or whatever. She doesn't like that. She never really liked anything that's not like moist, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Oh, and also an added complication to this is that she can't really have chicken. I'm sure like a little bit wouldn't kill her, but she used to have chicken all the time. And then one of the years that I got her blood test, she had like a liver enzyme level that was really high, and he told me to cut chicken out of her diet, and it's been fine ever since. So she can't have chicken. So I'm expecting a lot of fishy things. totally didn't even think to show you my shirt before we left. It's Layna. So I had this bag. So I did buy more churro. This one is tuna and sardine. Well, this one's the cat and creamy ones. She seems to like these better, so I bought these. I've never seen this flavor before, though. So we're going to try those. I'm almost certain those will be a winner. We got her this tin salmon and cod silky mousse. Thought maybe I could just throw it in her food or something one day. This Applause tuna fillet and crab recipe in broth. She loves a broth. Loves a broth. We got her these. She loves these. These are like her regular dinner, though. She, like, loves them. It's just that we were already at Petsmart, and this is the only place where you can get them. This is specifically the duck and sweet potato recipe. The last two things we got her are this Applause tuna loin. One of my colleagues at work said her cat loves this, so we're gonna try that. And then I also got these, like, I think they're sardines. Yeah, they're like little sardines. I know I said Layna doesn't like little freeze-dried things, but we're gonna try these. So that's $40 in cat treats. Just finished what I affectionately think of as her second dinner. It's usually about an hour after her first dinner. She, like, loops back around and eats more food from her bowl. And I had seen it, like, Charlie came in to eat some and he didn't really eat a whole lot. And then so now there's quite a bit missing from the bowl. There's just some on, like, the periphery of the inside of the bowl. So she ate a lot more. I do think all the sardine bits are still in there, so maybe, I don't know, maybe the sardines just aren't a win for Layna. She definitely seemed interested. You saw she was, like, sniffing. She never really took a bite. So we'll keep trying. I think tomorrow we're gonna try the, like, is the proper word a loin? The, like, fillet of tuna fish. We'll try that tomorrow, but for now, the tubes. Now, this is what started me wanting to turn my camera back on, because I went to put the tubes away and I noticed that the back of the package actually says feed up to 3 a day. And I was like, that's a lot of treat for a cat. Three whole tubes. Like, I watch Claire Love Cat. Her channel used to be called Cream Heroes on YouTube. And she had 10 cats. And she would give one tube to all 10 cats at once. Like, I always thought I was being crazy giving one cat one tube. But 3 a day? Like, that's crazy. And then it got me spiraling, okay? Because, so my sister and I were at the Humane Society this morning. And every week we see these cats that are like sweetheart, beautiful creatures. And a lot of them were surrendered for adoption by their families for, I'm gonna be honest with you, for stupid reasons. And every time someone on the internet talks about like the stupid reasons people put their cats up for adoption, there's always someone in the comment section who's like immediately defensive, right? They're like, well, I had to give my cat up for adoption, but that's because I got cancer and my family was killed in a house fire and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, those are extenuating circumstances. Like, your rare situation is not common, and I need more people to realize that. People really do be bringing their cats up, like, to the shelter for dumbass reasons. And that's the unfortunate truth of it. They do treat their cats like they're disposable. There was a cat today, and it said the reason for surrender was unable to train, but then you look through the sheet and the cat has had no problem using the litter box. So I don't know what that is. And then there was this other sweetheart, oh my god, this orange cat who was not even that old, and all the paperwork was there so we could see it, and it said technically on paper the reason that they were surrendered was behavior issues. But when you read through the paper, the mom and her like young kid that had surrendered the cat basically returned the adoption. They said the cat had anxiety when it was being left alone for too long. So like this cat, you know, it said it was using the litter fine. It said it wasn't being disruptive. It was being, or destructive rather. It wasn't being mean. It asked if it had scratched them, but like yes, but only when like it was getting scared at like loud noises. So I'm assuming that that meant someone was holding it and then it tried to like get away and scratch them by accident, because one of the things that they wrote was that the cat loved being held. And what I'm trying to get at is this paperwork made it seem like this cat was a sweetheart and didn't like to be left alone for long stretches of time, and they were leaving it alone for long stretches of time. And like, to me, my thought would be get a second cat so that the cat's not alone. You should really not only have one cat to begin with. And I guess, I don't know, like, part of me wants to be like, bringing the cat up for adoption is better than letting it be anxious, but I just also think, like, abandoning your cat after you've had it living in your house for who knows how long is only going to make the anxiety worse. Like, if it has attachment issues, like, that's definitely, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to make it worse. And then that just, like, sends me down the horrific rabbit hole about how, like, this sort of thing does happen to dogs, but not the same way. And this is the kind of thing that I talk about sometimes, and people roll their eyes at me, but I know I'm right. Because this is, to me, another symptom of the patriarchy, right? Like, dogs are so associated with men, and cats are associated with women and feminine things. And it's like, if your dog is in a house and your house is on fire, and you don't run in to save the dog, it's like you're a bad person, and that's terrible. How could you not go in to save the dog? But if you run in to save a cat, it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's a cat. And that is very much so how the world treats it. I feel like the last couple of years I have seen more and more cat dudes on the internet, and I love seeing that. And there's, you know, you love seeing men with dogs, and you love seeing people with dogs, but there is something about a guy with a cat that you just, like, feel in your heart of hearts like he's a really good soul. Because cats do kind of get treated like garbage by society, and it's so normalized. Like, if you think about, not to be extreme here, but like serial killers, one of the first signs of a serial killer is like abusing a cat. Okay? It's not abusing a dog, it's abusing a cat. And why is that? Because cats are associated with women and femininity, and that's what they're building up to, right? Serial killers most often kill women. And oh, it just drives me up the wall the way cats are treated as disposable, especially with, and I love dogs, like, please don't understand, I love dogs, I do, but it's the difference is so stark to me that, like, the dogs that get dropped off at the Humane Society, it's like something horrific has happened to this family. It is those extreme circumstances of like this person has lost their house and their job and they're about to be homeless and they're making the right choice for the dog because they don't want to take the dog to the streets with them. And then the cats at the Humane Society, it's like, I just don't really want it anymore. And it really does feel like that, and it makes me so like to tears, frustrated and angry because like these cats are so sweet and they did nothing wrong. And I would run into a burning building for Layna or Charlie or Heather, even though they're not my cats. Like, I would probably go into a burning building for any cat, even if it wasn't mine. Like, I love them. I would do it for a dog too. Like, don't get me wrong, but I just so in my core deeply don't understand how it is so normal for people to look at cats and dogs so differently and treat them so differently. And it's like, if you say you're not a dog person, you're treated like a pariah. But if you're not a cat person, that's like normal. And I don't know why. Like, cats are so great. There's nothing wrong with them. I actually think if cats don't like you, there's probably something wrong with you. They're picking up on something. You know what I mean? This is the kind of thing that I sit here and stew over all the time, like every day. And then we go to the Humane Society and I read the reasons these cats have been put up for adoption. And I know that someone in the comment section is going to try to fight me and they're going to be like, well, isn't it better that those people drop their cat off rather than leaving it home alone all the time, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why didn't they think of this before they adopted the cat? This is my question. Like, if you're adopting a pet, that is a huge commitment. That is the kind of commitment you're making for its whole life, regardless, till death do you part. I actually think you should, like, these days, it should be taken more seriously than marriage, right? Because people be getting divorced left, right, and center, and at the end of the day, that's a mutual choice that two humans made, but the animal has no choice in whether you adopt it or not. So you adopt a pet, you are responsible for its whole life, no matter what that brings. Layna, I adopted her at 20 years old. Well, I was 20 years old. She cost me $25. I knew then that I wanted to have her for a long time, and I wanted to pay for whatever I needed to pay for as a senior cat, and I just kind of hoped that I would have a job when she was old that would pay for that. This week, like I said, I took her to the vet, and she's healthy, right? Like, it's not like she has some kind of chronic thing that I need to pay for a million tests and medication for. We did all of what I would consider to be normal testing. And it was $690 plus the $120 for her fluoxetine. So that's, what is that, $810 on Layna in a week? And I'll do it again next year. Like, and I understand that that kind of money isn't feasible for everybody, but like, you should figure out if it's feasible for you before you adopt a pet. And if it's not feasible, don't get one. I don't think, maybe this is a hot take and I really apologize, but I don't think owning a pet is a right. I think it's a privilege, right? And I also don't think having kids is a right. I think it's a privilege. I think you need to be in a place where you can be responsible for them financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of those things. And I think the similar thing about animals. And I'm just thinking about that poor cat today that was, well, both of them, the one that was unable to train. What are they training it for? Like, my friend Alyssa said, what? So they brought their cat to the shelter because it wouldn't do flips. And it's like, you're right. Like, what are you trying to train your cat to do that is worth bringing it to the shelter for? Like, is it scratching furniture? Maybe that means you don't have enough scratchers for it. Like, that's usually what the answer is. Like, there's a whole bunch of My Cat from Hell episodes where Jackson Galaxy's talking about how he goes places and it doesn't look like there's a cat there because there's no cat furniture. And that's so true. Like, you need scratchers. You need things for it to play with, or else it's going to find other things to play with. You need to have adequate litter boxes. If the cat's going outside the litter box, when's the last time you changed litter? Like, these things should be common sense, and it really, like, frustrates me to no end that it's not common sense. And there's also something to be said about cat food and cat, like, nutritional information in general, because I don't think people take cat nutrition very seriously. I think I spoke about this a little bit earlier in this video, but like, kidney disease is one of the most common killers of house cats because they're not getting the sort of moisture that they need in their diet, so their kidneys go kind of early. And for Layna, one of the things that I always prioritize in her life is moisture in her diet because I wanted to keep her kidneys functioning as long as possible. And she's always been a really good water drinker separately anyway, so it's not really something I've had to worry about. And so now at 12 years old, other cats might have kidney problems, and maybe she's just genetically not predisposed to having them. But still, like, her kidney levels are fine. He's not worried about it, and that's something that I really am proud of because I've taken her food very seriously. She does have kibble, which I know is, like, not ideal for cat health. Like, if you really, really, really care for your cat's, like, well-being, I think probably a raw diet is the best. I haven't quite got there yet. I still buy her, like, the pate, and she does get kibble. But here's the thing, Layna loves her kibble. Like, I tried to cut it out of her diet before and just do wet food, and I really feel like she missed it. She loves her kibble. So, yeah, and I buy a really good kibble that's, like, made in Ontario at, like, a factory that's not far from here, and it's got really good ingredients, and I just, like, really trust them. I don't know them. They've never met me before, but yeah, like, I did the research to make sure that it was a good facility and that sort of thing. And other people just be out here, like, doing whatever. And I want to help their cats. If I could help every cat in the world. This is starting to sound like, do you remember, God, years ago, there was that viral video that I think was, like, fake and staged, but whatever, and it was a girl, like, it's supposed to be a dating video for, like, a dating profile, and she was, like, crying about how much she loves cats. That, first of all, I felt seen when that video went viral. I was like, that's me. And I feel like that's what I'm doing right now, is basically recreating that video, but I don't really care because I do love cats, and it really frustrates me when their well-being and their care is just not taken seriously enough. And people just like, yeah, whatever, it's just a cat. Who cares? It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's just a cat? It's alive. It matters. Yeah. I'm becoming a softie as I get older, but also angrier because, like, it makes me so frustrated when other people don't have, like, basic empathy. You don't have to be insane about things like I am, but you do have to have some basic level. And I just want you guys to know that I found a spider in here the other day. It, like, climbed down. It was in front of my computer screen, but it was so small that I was like, oh my God, like, if I do anything with the spider, it's going to die. So I caught it and I put it in a plant in the house. And I was like, it can live in here. It's fine. Because I was like, it was so little. I couldn't bear. And I'm not saying everyone needs to get to that kind of spider rescuing level, but what is the point of being a human if it's not to care for other creatures and to create art yourself and all of these things? And I'm going to get off my soapbox in a second, I promise, but it's just something I take really, really, really seriously, and then to see other people be flippant about it, just like, yeah, we'll adopt a cat, yeah, we'll drop it off at the shelter a couple months later because we just didn't really think about it that much. Irrationally angry. Actually, rationally angry. That's a rational anger, I think. Anyway, Layna's asleep on my bed in amongst all the junk still I have to finish cleaning up. And then tomorrow we will try the tuna loin or whatever it's called, the little slab of meat. I don't really know how to feed it to her. Do I just, like, cut pieces off? Do I tear pieces off? Maybe more research is required on my part, but that's what we're going to get up to tomorrow. See you then. All right, Layna, do you want some morning kibble? Come on. Come on. So you saw what this looked like when I put it down, and, like, that was all she ate. So he says feed her more kibble, and I'm just like, I can't. Like, she doesn't eat all that's there anyway. I don't know. Okay, so this morning when I got up, I thought the cats had finished the wet food in the bowl, and I was very excited that one of them, whichever one of them, ate the sardines. But it turns out they didn't, because then when I brought the bowl into the kitchen to clean it, because it was, like, dirty and gunky, all the sardine pieces were still in there, and there was a little sardine eye just, like, looking at me. So the sardines were kind of a fail. The dog seemed to like them, so I'll just keep the bag of sardines, I guess. And then, as you saw, Layna ate her dry food, but, like, not a lot. And then I haven't seen her yet today since. She's been upstairs with my younger sister, just, like, lounging, I guess. So when she eventually appears again, we're gonna try the loin a tuna loin, and I read the instructions on the Applause website, and it said you could like shred it and give it as a treat, or shred it and put it on their dry food. I'm thinking I might like shred it and put it on top of the wet food, or I might shred some tomorrow morning and put some on top of the dry food and just see if that is a win at all. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I really wanted the sardines to work because they seem kind of high in calories, but I should have known better. I knew she wouldn't eat them. She looked very intrigued. Like she really was sniffing it, but nothing more than that. Oh well. Okay, so I have now also tried the tuna. I don't have video footage of it, so you're just going to take my word for it. And spoiler alert, like she ate it, but she also didn't really seem to care that much. I didn't eat all of it. I sprinkled it on her food and there were pieces left after, so I don't know. It's like the only thing she seems to have really liked so far are the tubes, and we knew that. So, like, what next? When she was younger, she really did like the, like, temptation treats, and then she just kind of stopped liking them one day. Should I try them again, or should I try something more like my eldest sister suggested, like just buying a can of tuna from the grocery store, or like chicken baby food? I know is a popular one with, like, people trying to win the affections of feral cats. Like, what should I try next? This is where I'm trying to get over to you. What would your recommendation be to try to fatten up a fussy cat that doesn't seem to want to eat a ton? Like, what do I do here? What are your recommendations? What have you tried with your cats over the years, and what worked for you? Please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you next time. Bye!